Here for the Fangbanger Podcast. I'm with
David Crete, the host of the Fangbanger Podcast.
And welcome to the True Blood Transfusion. It's our fan feedback video only segment where we're going to be chatting about the feedback we've gotten for episode 7,
Cold Gray Light of Dawn.
Cold Gray Light of Dawn that we just got done reviewing, and you can listen to the polished audio podcast of that review by clicking right above us here. There's a link to the audio podcast. And remember, you can get that and this video podcast all over at fangbangerpodcast.com. David, we're actually late on jumping through to some other commitments, so let's jump right into feedback.
And jump.
All
right.
True. First piece of feedback comes from Kristen in Elk Grove, Illinois.
Hi, Kristen.
How you doing, Kristen? Thanks for watching. Thanks for sending your feedback. She writes, what are the chances that they'd actually kill any of the big characters this season? Aren't we due for some true death at this point? Who will it be?
Well, I have to say that I don't think that they... Aside from the holy trinity of Bill, Sookie, and Eric, I don't think that anybody is necessarily safe. I think that the writers have already shown that they're willing to kill off people who have longevity in the books and keep people alive who died in the books. I think there's no kind of tether to it. I think it's all up to Alan Ball and company, whoever they want to kill. I don't think that they're going to pull punches, really.
Something that we always swath on like mustard, too, for death inside of a program like True Blood is that it's supernatural.
Sure.
So, yeah, what I think we're eventually going to see, especially as the series winds down, we're going to see death of one of the big three.
Yeah, maybe.
And then there will be, not so strangely, a resurrection moment, just like what we had inside of this and kind of the previous episode, where they bring back dead people. It's just the way it's going to work out. And so if somebody did die, especially those big three, big four, whatever, I think that you would see something else as well, probably to quell fan disbelief and discuss, but again, it's supernatural. So that's a great question. Kristen from Elk Grove, Illinois continues, I know you two dislike discussion of potential spoilers, but humor me. I don't think that we hate spoilers. I know that I don't care for them because that's why I watch the program.
Sure.
If I'm going to interact and know all the spoilers beforehand, I don't know why I'm taking the time to watch the program.
Yeah, Mike and I discussed this in the past. I generally tend to know more about what's coming up than I let Mike know I know. I like the idea of occasionally getting little hints and peeks, but that's not really what we do around here.
Right.
We try to keep it fresh, and so that when you see something, you're surprised by it. Like there was some surprises in this past episode.
Yeah. The other thing about spoilers, and this has been kind of since day one, I always tell people that if you're looking for spoilers, definitely get on the web and internet.
Yeah.
Because you're going to find
tons of them everywhere.
Much. The 24 podcast was perfect for that. The 24 podcast with Joe was the other competing 24 podcast for a period of time. And that's where we would send everybody to listen to all of the spoilers because we didn't do spoilers inside of the 24podcast.com effort.
If you go to fangbangerpodcast.com, we've got links to several other sites, and a lot of them are spoiler heavy. As soon as they get a sniff of some news, they put it up on their website. Yes. You won't get that from us, though.
Right. Again, excellent questions, rather. And thanks for a podcast that is regular and wonderfully, quote, goony. You're welcome.
Yep.
That's what we provide here. Two Guys Talking has prided itself in providing you something that you're not going to get somewhere else, including spoilers. You're not going to get them here. So great. Thanks again. On to our first True Blood news note, rather. True Blood actors attend Bitten 2. Do you have any idea what the Bitten show is for True Blood, David?
Bitten, I believe, is the convention for True Blood.
It is, and it's held in Northampton, UK. Apparently, they had Marshall Ullman, Grant Bowler, and Joe Manganiello.
I'll let you destroy those names.
You're welcome. I hope I didn't destroy it too bad. And again, they were in Northampton, UK this last weekend. There's all kinds of pictures and quotes and video and all kinds of stuff from the ceremony and people having dinner with them and all the panels that occurred on Saturday. So make sure you go and log on to fangbangerpodcast.com where we've got links to all of the news websites that have all of those pictures and input. It looks like it was a great time. And the reason I put it in here as well as a long time continuing Star Trek convention goer, there's nothing quite like a convention where you are surrounding yourself with people of like mind.
Absolutely. I attend and am staff for a science fiction fantasy convention here in St. Louis, Archon. I love to go because when you're around people in the community with what you are doing, things you enjoy, whatever it may be, whether it's True Blood, whether it's Star Trek, whether it's Lord of the Rings, whatever it is, what kind of geekery you involve yourself in. When you're around a group of other like-minded individuals, people who are there for the exact same purpose, a sense of community is built, and it gives you sort of a not just purpose, but a resolution to the fact that you're not alone, that you're not the only one that completely freaks out over this stuff. Right. It's great to be amongst your peers.
It really creates an atmosphere, and I think that's why so many people spend money at conventions. And it doesn't make any difference what kind of convention. That want to be with other people that are like yourself is what is the basis for every single fandom organization on the planet, regardless of whether it's Star Trek, in this case True Blood, anything that has a solid fan base, being able to go and then also throw on top of, holy cow, there's the guy that's been my hero since I was a kid.
Sure.
Let me interact with him.
Absolutely.
Well, yes, that's what you go to conventions for. And that's some of the success that happened recently inside of the Bitten 2 convention inside Northampton in the UK. We'll have links all over the place over at FangbangerPodcast.com. Second piece of feedback is from Gene in Houston, Texas. Gene, how's it going? Thanks for writing the Fangbanger Podcast. Just finished out Cold Gray. Was that the name of the episode?
Cold Gray Light of Dawn.
Cold Gray Light of Dawn. And is it just me, or was Ginger, the lovable vampire attendant, enjoying the vibrating, undulating coffin with Pam in it a bit too much?
It was magnificent. It caused me to laugh out loud.
Yeah.
And one of the things I brought up in the actual podcast, which you can link to directly above us, is that the use of characters like Ginger. Ginger, you couldn't watch the Ginger show, but when you gently sprinkle Ginger around inside of an episode like this, inside of the series, this may be, I think, the second or third time we've even seen her this season. You really add something to it. It's a flavor that you really, really enjoy. It could have been completely over the top and ridiculous. It is kind of a bit of slapstick, physical humor. It could have been completely over the top, but it wasn't. It was just enough and just light enough to make that whole bit of Pam's trying to bust out of her coffin so she can meet the sun really kind of darkly funny. I enjoyed it greatly.
I thought it was great. The actress that provided the Ginger moment inside of this one, I think I have to agree with Gene. That's exactly what was going on. She was unsure of where she was, but wow, this feels really good. That's exactly what you saw inside of her face, though, that you mentioned that. And again, what I love about doing all this podcasting and video stuff is that I love reveling in what other people see and then commenting on what I think of their observations.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is why I podcast. The other reason I love stuff like this is because, remember, the most inexpensive way for television programs to grow a canvas of interest and fandom is to add on characters.
Yes.
Now, imagine adding on characters where it's just a dash. It just happens that her name happens to be Ginger inside of this one. But here's a dash of Ginger.
Perfect.
And in doing so, you make what could have been this giant pile of food into something that's just enough food, that has just enough flavor for you to watch and really enjoy the program.
Yeah.
Done. I love that. Wonderfully done. And again, a great catch there, Gene. Gene continues on. Satisfaction plus terrified equals great for viewership.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And add on a dash of humor. I really think that's the perfect piece. Great work, True Blood. I look forward to your review of this episode. What was the name of the episode again?
Cold Gray Light of Dawn.
Cold Gray Light of Dawn. This episode, and have now lured my workplace fellow True Blooders to your podcast as well.
Well, thank you very much.
Hi there. It's great to see you guys too. And this is a perfect point for us to mention iTunes. We just inside of the audio podcast, we always include that we're now on iTunes. What we are missing on iTunes is, of course, your feedback.
Right. There are no reviews on iTunes as far as I know.
If you wouldn't mind, whether you're good, bad, or indifferent, we don't care. Just get on iTunes real quick and put in there what you think of the podcast and shine it on other people, or let them know why you don't like it, thereby letting us know why you don't like it, and help us grow the audience. It's the best way. Someone goes, man, you really need to watch these guys, or some of the other feedback we've got from Two Guys Talking Stuffs. how much they hate some of the opinions we have. Okay,
Nice.
well, at least it's feedback, and
Yes.
we want it from you on iTunes. So remember, up at the top of this page, if you're at the feedback or the Fangbanger Podcast website, is a little icon that is the iTunes icon. If you click on that, your iTunes will open right up, and you can put in your feedback for this program. Real quickly, let's see. True Blood, on to news from True Blood again. True Blood calls the stars of HBO's True Blood. Did you guys know that you can get the stars of True Blood calling you before the episode airs on Sundays? Did you know that?
Yes, it did. It's a reminder phone call that you received, and I did not.
Remember that you guys can go to the official Facebook presence of True Blood, and you can subscribe or put in your phone number, and you'll be subscribed to something called the Bloodline. The Bloodline will provide you with a quick reminder call from any one of the stars inside the program. This most recent week was featured with Marnie, which I thought was terribly appropriate.
Yeah, very much so.
Last week was Andy, who didn't sound drunk and sounded like a coherent character. Boy, what the hell happened to that? How about some more of that, True Blood writers? That'd be great. The previous week was Pam, and then the week before that was somebody. Those two were late. They were a couple hours late, so not so much the reminder. But they've gotten on task now. And remember, you can see all of that by going to the official fan Facebook presence of True Blood. Last piece of viewer feedback from you guys, which all of you guys can send to us via the contact button at the top right-hand side of the page. Click on the contact us button, fill out the quick web form, and let us know what you guys think. Betty from Salem, North Carolina writes, I wanted to compliment you on your selection of Merlot special characters. Very well. There's something to be said for the supporting cast of characters inside of True Blood that never really get anything more than, quote, just a few minutes.
I agree with that.
I totally agree with that. In fact, I think, especially in a program like Dexter, I almost get as much satisfaction from those characters than I do all of the big ones.
And it's one of the great things about True Blood is the fact that they can have these really fleshed out, well-acted roles that you just see little bits of, and they add to the story. They not just add to the story, but they fill out the background, so it's not just background filler. It's actually a community that you get to know.
Right. And again, the cheapest, least inexpensive way to bump up a program and add characters is to sprinkle in other characters that you can kind of drag over a series of episodes.
Yeah.
And I think it really builds some support for characters as well. The Vampire Doctor is a perfect sample.
Perfect example of that.
Perfect sample. I'd love to see way more of that, much less of the aimless Andiness that we've gotten recently. So what did you think? What did you think about this episode of the True Blood Transfusion from the Fangbanger Podcast, Two Guys Talking? Let us know what you thought, again, by going to fangbangerpodcast.com. Click the contact button on the top right-hand side of the page. Fill out the quick web form and let us know what you think of True Blood, the True Blood Transfusion, and the Fangbanger Podcast. I'm Mike Wilkerson. Until next time,
I'm David Curry.
thanks for watching.